Is school reform dead? Should we throw up our hands and admit we can't consistently design the schools and districts we need? I'm Karen Holly Miles, and we at ERS say no.
Sometimes you just don't realize what's possible until you just take the time to sit and think it out and plan it out and map out the project.
We've learned so much over the past 20 years, as much from what hasn't worked as from what has. And we're seeing school districts make strides, accelerating learning for every child across more than just a few schools. Tulsa Public Schools, for example, is in their third year of redesign. They're centered around a single strategic priority of improving instruction by creating effective professional learning for teachers. This is about changing the way that teachers work in schools. In this audio story, we dive deep into the ways Tulsa retooled the school planning timeline and process so that schools could be organized around great, job-embedded teacher professional learning. Listen and be inspired by the messy, often unsexy work of district and school redesign. Carisha Solomon is the proud principal of Hawthorne Elementary. She's been at the school since 2012, starting as a teacher. She describes what the planning process used to be.
I just remember coming into leadership and getting an email and knowing that a budget was due. And so they would reference, and it's like, here's last year's budget for your conveyance. And I kind of just remember looking at the budget the year before and just like, well, yeah, we should definitely do this again, at least for now. And so a lot of my planning was just really stemmed off of what happened the year before with the principal before me, because I was like, well, that didn't really seem broke,
I expect this sounds familiar to many of you who've been faced with the challenge of school planning.
I didn't know how strategic the process was supposed to be and how it's supposed to be linked to, just the intentionality with the vision and the priorities that you have for your school.
There was a general desire at the district to improve the school planning process.
Jill Hendricks is the Executive Director of Federal Programs and Special Projects. She remembers when the district realized that the process had to improve. She's been in Tulsa's central office since 2012 and is always focused on running federal programs.
We kept saying, do a plan, do a good plan, but didn't really define what a good plan was or even make it easy for schools to do a good plan.
From Jill's perspective at the central office, redesigning the planning process and timeline was the way to provide support and guidance that would make a step function change.
I was very excited because it can only benefit what we do in our office in federal programs to have the plans be like what they really are supposed to do, plans for improvement with monitoring and all of that. So I was happy to jump in and just start being thought partners with other district leaders and with ERS and figuring out kind of where we wanted to go and how to get there.
To get there, ERS worked with leaders from across the district to develop a single, streamlined, and integrated process, along with lasting tools that make it easier.
We have worked together with the other teams and with ERS's help, and we have one single tool, which is amazing. So it meets all of the federal rules, it meets all of the bond requirements, it has all of the staffing information, all of the budgets are on one page, and they just, schools will just select the funding source for what they want to do. They get all of their information at the same time. So they get their staffing allocations at the same time that they get their bond money, which is at the same time that they get their Title I money, and they can then truly see the full picture of all of the resources that they have, the people, the money. They also do their master scheduling at the same time, so they really have the people, the time, and the money all available, so they're able to make truly strategic decisions with all of the info at the very beginning.
Having all of that information in one place helps Jennifer Capado, one of Tulsa's 7 instructional leadership directors. She's been in the district since 1995, devoting her entire professional career to Tulsa Public Schools. She's had many roles, including teacher, principal, and in the central office serving as a coach to several principals. She tells us how the new system helps her work more productively and strategically with the principals she supports.
Principals are reviewing their dashboards and they're setting a priority goal. We can log on to the platform and they have choices of strategies and what support comes from the district offices around those strategies and how those strategies align to their priority goals. So it's much more efficient. I feel like I'm much more well-informed, and I feel like I'm more of a strategic thought partner in the work and less of a compliance monitor.
Jill describes how the new process demands that principals start with their needs and then use the information provided to figure out how to meet them.
Traditionally, the budget drove the plan for our schools. It was very hard for them to think about, that I don't know what I can do. I don't know what money I have, or I don't know if I can do that. I don't know how many teachers I have. And your needs are your needs, regardless if you have money or if you have a teacher.
Putting needs first is one of the many changes Principal Carisha talks about.
We're definitely planning sooner and earlier. We already know what we're doing with the money. So now we're just able to be very granular and intentional and spend, real time with what we want it to look like and sound like.
She can now start her process knowing the resources that will be available.
Now we're diving more into our data. And so a lot more things are being referenced as you think about people, time, and money, how to align our performance framework goals directly with how we're spending money. So it's like it kind of used to live like these are your priorities, but just really creating a through line for how you link academic and, school priorities to the money.
Jennifer appreciates their new system.
Our previous experience was this was often lonely work that was done in isolation in the summer when principals were alone. Our current reality is the exact opposite of that. It is often a community event that's shared by many people and done early and done proactively. I think school leaders want to do this kind of work, and the school design process has empowered them to be able to do it.
We know that many district leaders might hear about these changes and think it would be impossible in their district. But keep in mind that's what they thought in Tulsa too.
Sometimes you just don't realize what's possible until you just take the time to sit and think it out and plan it out and map out the project and all of that. It took months and months of meeting together and calendaring things out and figuring out interdependencies and things like that. So worth it, absolutely worth the time spent, because now we can just tweak every year, which is great.
Our lesson at ERS, real change to long-standing processes is possible.
I did just recently reread the principal feedback that we got from last year. There wasn't a single negative comment about the changes we made at all, which in and of itself is amazing because you always have the naysayers or the people who aren't going to be happy no matter what. But when asked specifically about the revised timeline and the tool and all of that, without exception, every single principal said it was amazing. And they actually felt like they were, for the first time in some cases, supported by the district. And, at the district level, if we're not there for the schools, then what are we there for?
You can learn the details of how Tulsa made these changes by going to our website. We have case studies and links to the actual tools, including calendars, scheduling prototypes, and planners. If you're feeling inspired, listen to our professional learning story to hear about the surprising connection between strategic school planning and transforming how teachers grow.
To see it be possible and teachers can experience professional learning in a space where they can learn from colleagues that are above their grade level or right below their grade level to create more alignment. That's something that has been really strong in our building.
Thanks so much to Jill, Jennifer, Carisha, and all of the committed educators in Tulsa Public Schools that have made this transformation happen. It gives us hope and energy to keep working with district leaders on redesigning school systems so that every child in every school is ready for tomorrow.